What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is the fourth part of a story where Issei was betrayed and became the Jinchuuriki of Kyuubi. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Also, this is a translate version, you may find some mistakes, specifically in the character's gender. Issei of course is a male, but this time we have a female volley, female drag and female great red. Well, with that out, let's get into part 4. In Issei's home, a magic circle appeared in the middle of the room where Sakura and the others came out with an unconscious Issei. They all brought a table from the dining room and placed Issei on it, beginning to heal him with the help of Brunhold and Alicia who had healing magic. But despite this, some wounds did not heal, the damage was too much to be cured that easily. Chisato. Let's see, let me treat your ugliest wounds while you heal your burns and so on. Brunhold. But how will you do it if they can't even be cured with magic? Chisato. I will use my medical knowledge to treat him, so I need some bandages and alcohol, as well as thread and needle. Leisha. There are bandages and alcohol in the bathroom medicine cabinet, I'll go get it. Ruby. I know where the needle and thread are, she said going to the brunette's room. Chisato. I also need water and a sponge to clean open wounds before disinfecting them. Ryder. I'm going to get a pot of water from the kitchen. Kurama. I'm going to get the bath sponge. Chisato began to inspect the brunette's body to see his condition under everyone's watchful eye. Chisato. His temperature is high, we need to lower it before closing his wounds. Jer. Here's a rag, I'm going to get the ice. Viteria. It's not necessary, let me take care of it, he said, making ice appear from his hands. Chisato began to run the cloth through the water and put the block of thread on the rolled cloth to put it on Issei's forehead, lowering his temperature. Just then the others arrived with the things, and Chisato proceeded to apply first aid to Issei and then close his wounds with a needle. It took her a while to finish, but she managed to completely close her wounds. Chisato. Well finished, now you just need to take him and give him a bath. But before anyone said anything, a dark purple fog began to come out of Issei's body. Everyone got into a fighting pose. It could be some spell from those people to track him, but they were surprised to see that the fog took physical form. Everyone was confused except Kurama, who was serious when he saw this creature, he could see that it was composed of the brunette's hatred and rage. Barkras. Hello everyone, he said with a thick voice. Sakura, who you are and what you do in Issei. Barkras. Calm down, I'm a part of your beloved Brown, and I don't think you want to hurt me knowing that. Everyone was surprised by that. The furball knows it's true, no. Everyone saw Kurama, who was serious. Kurama. If it's true, you are a part of Issei, or rather, you are his feeling of hatred, right? Everyone was confused by this. Barkras. Hehehe, well done furball, if I am one of his feelings, I am his hate, but that is not important now, you should know that he and I are united into one, so I don't have much time left before it is totally absorbed, so listen, now Issei is much stronger, and it is all thanks to the fact that he joined me, his hatred, but he still does not know how to control it, so I warn you. It is better that you help him since he will have some changes and certain events will happen to him in the future, and I think you know it well, no hairball. Kurama. Wait then. Barkras. Exactly, you'll see, but what I'm going to tell you is for your future wives. All those who loved the brunette paid attention. If you really love him, don't deceive him, since that would release something worse than that uncontrolled way that he gave us. We converted before and believe me, you don't want to see him against you. Also, make sure that those unfortunates don't get too close to him. Brandras. Wait, what you mean by that? Barkras. Protect him from them if you want him to be the same, he said, disappearing. Everyone was confused by that except Kurama. Kurama. I supposed Issei merged with his negative side forming that transformation, but it seems that he had his own consciousness. Well, it will be better to leave it until when he wakes up he will know more about this. Everyone agreed. Chisato. Leaving aside what just happened, we must take Issei to bathe. They all left the being aside and began to say that they would bathe it. Almost all of them wanted to do it, but someone interrupted the possible fight. Kurama. I'll take care of this along with Ren and Wayne. He said well they carried him to the bathroom, but Sakura was going to talk. While we do this you should talk to all of them about it, he said looking at her. But that said Kurama proceeded to leave with Issei and the other two. Those who were there remained silent, thinking that they had to speak according to Kurama. Sakura stood up and looked at everyone. Well, I guess now that we are calmer we should talk about what will happen from now on with Issei. Alicia. Sorry, but what are we talking about? Leisha. What we want to say is that both Sakura, myself and some members of our entourage are in a romantic relationship with Issei at the moment, and from what we see, some of you feel something for him. Those who were interested in Issei became serious. Sakura. As we had previously discussed with the girls in our entourage, Leisha and I had already anticipated that there would be more women who would be interested in Issei, so we had prepared a plan for these cases. Kateria. And what is that happy plan? She said seriously. Leisha. We plan to form a harem for Issei. Everyone was surprised by this, most of them knew that demons were polygamous, but they did not expect this. Sikvera. But before talking about that, he said looking at Kateria. I want to know a couple of things before continuing. First, how are you alive since it was said that Azazel had killed you during his attack? They all saw Kateria. Kateria. Well, that has an explanation. When I was about to die, I changed my body for a replica of my magic which I controlled from the shadows. That was the one they had killed that day. Then I was wandering around collecting information about why Issei was with them. Leisha. Wait, because you gathered information about him. Kateria. That's because I knew him since I was 5 years old. Everyone was surprised by this. Sikvera. But he never mentioned that he knew you or anything. I know that at that age one forgets some faces, but being demons we don't have many changes since we are mature as a voice. Kateria. That is because due to certain issues I had to erase her memory of me to prevent her from having problems because of me, here is proof of that. She said while making a photo of her appear next to a 5-year-old Issei. They were all surprised by this, but still had doubts about how they met and how she fell in love with Issei. Kateria. I know you have more questions about this, but I would like to tell the whole story when he is present, so I ask you to wait please, I want him to hear it too. They were all surprised, but they accepted that they would wait for the brunette to wake up. Sikvera. Well, now we must talk about what we will do about you and him, even though we don't like the idea of there being more girls with Issei, since he had certain problems with some who hurt him and used him for his power, but even if it costs me admit it, we are not strong enough to protect him from them, we cannot take care of them alone. That is why we formed this plan, not only so that Issei is happy with everyone, but to prepare ourselves in case those women want to try to get him back, and we do not doubt that because of what happened they want return to him. That's why we will need all the help possible to face them and prevent them from approaching him and hurting him again. Leisha. So if any of you, knowing this, want to continue and be part of this harem plan, you should know that you will not only have to prove that you really love Issei, but that you will have to be ready to fight for him if the time comes. Sikvera. We will see if your feelings for him are true, since we will not allow you to play with him again, so those interested in him take a step and say that they will fight to have a future with him. At that everyone stood up except Nora, Pura, Roygun who didn't know what to do for now, since he didn't know the brunette well, and 10 of the 12 Valkyrie sisters. Sikvera. I see that you are the ones who feel something for him, so I hope you show your feelings for him, because if we see that he is not sincere, we will not hesitate to remove you from his life. Brunhild. I speak for myself and my sister, both she and I will fight so that he has a space for us in his heart. Jer. And we will show them that our love is as great and pure as theirs towards him. Alicia. For our part, my friend and I swear to give everything of ourselves to take care of him and love him. She said, looking at Sharon, who nodded. Smith. Both I and my sister Ryder and Chisato are ready to face any adversity to be with him. She said while the two mentions stood next to her confirming her words. Kateria. Maybe in the past he was an enemy, but I had my reasons, some may not believe it, but I was the first to be with him and fall in love, but due to fate I had to leave him. Now you come and offer me this opportunity to be with him again, and I won't waste it, so I hope we all get along well as future friends and sisters in this. They were all happy because they could be with the person they wanted, and they would not hesitate to show it and protect him in the future. Sikvera. Well, with that said, we better eat something and rest, since it is certain that Issei will not wake up today, so let's hope that tomorrow he will be ready to give him this news and see what he says about this. They all proceeded to eat a little while they got to know each other a little, and then went to the rooms they had to rest and see if the brunette woke up to talk to him. While in Issei's subconscious he was there seeing memories, but they were not his, they were more like past memories of his ancestors. Issei. What's happening here? Who are those people and why are they fighting? Issei was watching the fight without saying anything. He was studying the way they both fought by watching their technique. He didn't know why, but he felt as if he could somehow copy or use it, but he couldn't. He was able to continue seeing because he began to wake up. Issei was awake, he didn't know what that was, but he felt that it was important to him. Leaving that aside, he looked around seeing that he was in his room. He looked down and saw that he was bandaged and clean, so he tried to get up, managing to do so after a few minutes. Attempts and went to his closet to look for some clothes, taking out a t-shirt that was tight, which he didn't know because it was new, and as he remembers it was 2 sizes bigger than his, and he put on some black sports shorts. When he finished dressing he slowly headed downstairs since he was hungry. He could barely get down seeing Kurama sleeping on the couch next to Ren and John, so as carefully as possible he went to the refrigerator looking for something to eat. The weather was very cloudy and it was very windy outside. It seemed like it was going to rain soon. He was still very weak, but he was able to prepare some cereal in a bowl with milk. When he was about to try it, he began to feel a strange sensation. He looked at the patio and saw how it started to rain through the sliding door. That feeling was nostalgic, but he didn't know. Because he felt it, so he left his bowl and headed towards the patio. When he went outside and felt the raindrops on his skin, he began to feel calmer, as if all his pain and fatigue were disappearing little by little. He closed his eyes, raising his head. His face to the sky, feeling the rain on his face, he enjoyed the sensation that the drops generated when they fell on him. Inside everything was normal until without them realizing it the doorbell started ringing, so Kurama, Ren and John got up. Kurama was going to go see who it was, but both boys stopped him. He didn't want the same thing to happen. When he appeared in front of them, so they both went to see who it was, while Kurama inspected the place a little since he felt a breeze coming from the kitchen. Minutes before someone rang the bell, we saw how the streets of Issei's neighborhood were empty due to the rain, but on both corners of the block of Issei's house, we see how two people were heading there. Both were covered by a tracksuit and an umbrella to avoid getting wet. When both people were in front of Issei's home, they discovered their faces looking at Rumi and Aika. They both saw each other and didn't know why they were both there. Rumi. Why are you here, Aika? Aika. I'm asking you the same thing, Rumi. Rumi. It's just that last night I felt like something happened to Issei, so I came to check if it was just a simple feeling or if something really happened. Aika. I also had that feeling, that's why I also came to see what's happening. They were both in the same situation to know if the brunette was okay. They both had that feeling that caused them pain, and they wanted to know what happened for that to happen, so without further ado, they proceeded to ring the bell, hoping that the brunette would answer them. When they both saw that someone opened the door, they began to calm down a little, but when they saw who it was, they worried. It wasn't Issei. Aika. Ren, John, because they are here at Issei's house. Ren. You see, something happened last night and we had to stay to help Issei. He couldn't continue because both girls got scared when they heard that, because apparently something had happened and the brunette was involved. Rumi. What happened? Where is Issei? He's well, nothing bad happened to him, she said, scared, about to cry like Aika. Aika. Please let us see it, we need to know if it's okay, please. John. Calm down now, it's fine, he's just resting, but first, let's move on because you're getting wet. He said, making them enter while they both tried to calm them down. Their scream had woken up all the people who were sleeping, coming to see what was happening. Sakvara. What happened, because we heard some screams. It beat. Something happened. Ruby. Aika, Rumi, what are you doing here? Aika. We wanted to see Issei. We both felt that something happened to him last night and we wanted to see if he was okay. She said a little calmer. Rumi. But what are you all doing here? Even the teacher and director are here, what happened to Issei? She said, starting to get even more scared. Everyone began to calm them down while they sent Blake to check on the brunette in his room. They all proceeded to tell what happened to both of them through holograms. It is worth saying that they were both devastated and scared when they saw what the brunette had to go through. It took them a while to calm them down, in addition to telling them about the supernatural, and for them to digest it, but when they were about to continue they heard Blake come down quickly. Blake. Issei is not in his room, he disappeared. Everyone got scared and started searching the house looking for him. A while had passed, and everyone was in the living room thinking where he could be or what happened to him. Roygun. Maybe the Legion has taken him away. Weiss. I don't think so, they were too injured and weak for it to have been them. Smith. And if the factions were, now that the truth has been discovered, they may want to recruit him again seeing his current power. Leisha. I don't think with what happened they wouldn't have enough organization to think about it at the moment. They were all thinking what happened to Issei when they heard a whistle from the kitchen, seeing Nora who was pointing them to this one, they all went, and Nora pointed to the patio. Everyone seeing what she was pointing to was surprised. It was Issei next to a Kurama. That I was sitting watching it in the rain, but it was doing something strange. Outside we can see how the brunette was standing while doing poses that followed the rain, as if he were one with it. Kurama was surprised he was entering a cycle of momentary inner peace, but what surprised him most was seeing a barely visible light blue trail coming out. From his palms, he didn't know what it was, but he could see that it was some method of melee attack. He could feel that energy gathering in his palms. Suddenly everyone sees that he begins to go faster, and his attacks were more fluid when suddenly he gives one last blow that makes a slingshot that stops the rain for a few seconds and then begins to fall again. Everyone was surprised by this technique, but then Issei noticed that everyone was watching him, so he approached them like this. After a scolding from the girls and him going to take a bath and get dressed, everyone was sitting in the living room talking about what happened. Everyone asked the brunette who Barkers was, where Issei told them everything since they went to the party and what happened during his transformation. Then they told what happened at the party, making the brunette mad for a piece of information. Issei. Like Ash was Rizavam, if I remember he was killed during the War of 666. Sikvera. The truth is we don't know how, but it was him, plus he said it himself and Kateria confirmed it. Kateria. If I can assure you, it was Rizavam, although it was not the original. Issei. Wait, now that I think about it, maybe I know why he is still alive, and what you said confirmed my suspicion that he was a clone of him, right? Kateria. If you're not mistaken, it was one of his clones. Issei. So you say that there may be more copies of that bastard out there still? Leisha. That can't be possible if we make sure to kill the original and its copy. Kateria. No one could answer except him. He knows how many copies of himself he made, but I don't think there are any more. Remember that these copies have a lifespan before they die, so I don't think there are any more. Issei. I hope so. I don't want to have to face an army of him. I can barely handle this new enemy. Brunhild. Well, thanks to that copy, everything supernatural is in a delicate, if not chaotic, situation. Many people were deceived, and several women were involved with it, so I have no doubt that this is beginning to get out of control. Alicia. Many girls were with him, and with what was discovered there may have been the occasional suicide attempt by some. Sikvera. And what can we say about some demonic heirs who were secretly with him? It is more than certain that they will not leave their homes again, which would make a part of the defenses vulnerable. Leisha. Many of my friends were involved with him right now, they must be having a hard time, but nothing can be done, they agreed on that. Jom. Issei, what do you think about this? I mean, your exes were with him, so they probably wanted to get back to you after this. Everyone looked at him, that was a topic they couldn't ask Issei because of what happened to him. That Pura nudged him. Issei stood still watching him, making the atmosphere a little cold and gloomy. Everyone was attentive in case something happened, and Kurama was ready to put him to sleep in case he started to lose his sanity, as Barkers said, but the brunette looked at the ceiling and sighed. Issei. The truth is, I don't care what happened to them. Everyone was surprised by the coldness of their words. They chose that path, so they must abstain from the consequences of their actions. This was the consequences of their decisions, so no. I don't care about your destiny because of me, you can go to hell, but if you try to bother me or any of you, I will show you what happens when you dare to even come to me after what you did to me. Everyone was surprised by the brunette's cold words, but realized that it was possibly due to the part of his hatred with which he fused. This was one of the changes that would possibly happen. Issei. Well, let's put that aside, Kateria, I want to know how you knew me before, and why I don't have any memories about those times. Kateria got up and went to hug him while he started counting. Kateria. Well, do you remember how you got this cut on your forehead? She said, moving her brown hair away a little, showing an old scar. This happened the day when we met, even though your body was rebuilt by the two dragons, you still have those. The memories that remained on your skin, and this is a special one. Issei touched his scar, a memory of him being a child came to him while he was hugged by a Kateria who was happy. You better see my memories with this spell while I tell you. She said while forming a white sphere where she began to show her memories of that day. That day I was very angry, I couldn't find a way to get my Mahu position back, and I was quite stressed, so I decided to go out to clear my head a little, but no. I could go to the underworld because I was wanted, so I decided to go to the human world where no one knew about me. I had arrived at a park and decided to sit on a bench under the tree. I didn't want to think about it, and I started to fall asleep, but I felt that someone he sat next to me. I was about to send him flying, but I saw that it was a little boy who was there staring at me while I was eating an ice cream. It was Issei. I didn't give it any importance, but I started to get hungry, and I didn't have anything, so I had stolen your ice cream. Of the hands, you automatically started to scold me for that, but I didn't give it any importance, but I didn't realize that you were someone very persistent, and I didn't expect you to throw your sneaker at my head, haha. I was furious about that, so I started chasing you to show you who I was, but you had climbed a tree, and I couldn't take out my wings, so I started to climb to reach you, but I couldn't. Something prevented me from reaching you. When you saw that I couldn't reach you, you started to fall asleep on top of that tree. I was very angry. But I had to wait until no one was there to take out my wings. When I could take them out, I started to climb up to catch you, but I can't. Something didn't allow me to do it. The branches of the tree prevented me, they didn't let me get closer, but then you started to move, which ended in which you fell like this, making us fall to the ground. When I came to I was about to grab you, but I didn't count on you being still asleep on my breasts. Despite that fall I suddenly couldn't do anything to you or even get you up, so I unconsciously began to caress you gently head, but I didn't expect that while you were asleep, you would start playing with my breasts, as if they were drums haha. Issei blushed at this, and the others were let's say not very happy about this. Who would say the great Leviathan heiress letting a human child will play with my breasts, she said melancholy. Issei. Wow that's. I didn't expect to know you before, but why did you leave, how did I get this injury, and why didn't you see me again? Pateria. Well after that I was hanging out there for a few days where I always found myself with a voice, and we played until we had to leave, but I didn't tell that the other heirs were looking for me to recruit me. One day Shalba had appeared in my hiding place offering me to join their group. At first I refused, but I didn't expect them to start following me, so I had to make a decision. I couldn't let them know about you that day. I had gone to your house at night, and I woke you up stealthily. We both went to a clear part of the forest, and we played until we were tired, but I couldn't prolong what I had to do any longer, so I had told you that I would stop seeing you. At first you thought it was only for a few days, but then you realized when you saw my face and you didn't want to let me go. It hurt me a lot. Seeing you cry for me, I had fallen in love with you, and I had to leave you so you could live a normal life, so I picked you up and started flying with you to your house, but you didn't want to let me go, and you were moving so much that due to carelessness you fell down. Luckily I wasn't very tall, but you hurt your head leaving you unconscious, so I took you to your room and healed your wound, leaving you lying in your bed. You looked very nice sleeping peacefully. It was hard for me to get away from you. I didn't want to, my heart hurt, because what I was doing was afraid. I didn't want you to be without me. I didn't want to see you being a man with another woman, and that you would form a family without me, but I couldn't protect you alone against them, so how could I seal your memories of me so that you could continue? I was reluctant to do that, but it was the best. When I was about to leave, I saw that there was a cardboard box under your bed. Curiosity had invaded me, so I checked it. There was a toy camera and a photograph. When I looked closely at the photograph, I couldn't see it. I was able to stop myself from crying. It was a photo of us where you were smiling at me while you pointed the camera and I was sleeping. I put my hand to my mouth to avoid bursting into tears. I had saved that photo as a memory, he said as the photo appeared, and I showed it to him. That was why you don't remember me and you have that scar. Years later I saw you again with that grimoire, but I didn't want them to think that you were some spy if I went to you, so I continued my attack at the meeting, but now that I can finally be with you, I will never leave you alone again. She said, giving Issei a kiss who didn't even resist. Their lips knew what they wanted so they couldn't help themselves. They were all very happy for her. They were not jealous because she was the first in their heart, but rather she really loved the brunette. She had waited a long time for this, so they decided not to interrupt their reunion. Tomorrow they would talk about what to do next. The morning was cold, it was still cloudy, and there was wind, but at least it stopped raining. Everyone was having breakfast with Rumi and Aika who had fallen asleep yesterday. When they finished, they all went to the living room to talk for a while before some of them had to leave. Due to some issues they had to resolve, in the case of Smith, Ryder and Chisato, had to go home to prepare some things for an event that the school will have in a few days. Brunhild and Jer went to their sister's house to look for their things. Were both going to start living with Issei. Alicia and Sharon went to heaven because they were summoned to talk about the future to follow because of what happened. Sikvara and the others had to go to the underworld because they knew that despite if everything was turned upside down, the press would go to their homes to find out their relationship with the fallen hero. So as their lovers they had to come forward and make themselves known as their wives to everyone, making it clear to them. Issei. Please take care of yourselves. If something happens, let me know and I'll still be in my state. Smith. You don't have to worry, we'll just go in our case to prepare some things from the academy, then we'll come back, no girls. Ryder and Chisato nodded, leaving the three of them, but not before giving Issei a kiss. Aika and Rumi. We have to go home, our parents are waiting for us, so we'll see each other on Monday at the academy, so don't worry and take care of yourself. They said, giving them a kiss on the cheek. Sikvara. We are going to go to settle some matters in our homes so don't worry, we will return as soon as we can. While you are resting, Kurama, make sure that he doesn't do anything, please, or I will make sure that you are at dinner, but it won't be for eating, understood? He said giving him a sharp look. Kurama nodded frantically at what he said. Issei. Hahaha, okay girls, don't worry, I'll be resting, just make sure you're okay. He said giving them each a kiss. They all walked away and teleported to Sikvara's house, while Roygun went to his parents' house. Underworld. Everything was fatal. The news of the true identity of their beloved pillar caused a lot of commotion. Some were outraged by this. They had been deceived by the worst person they could think of. Many were worried about the women who were with him. They knew that if they had a wedding they also had a honeymoon. There were many cases of women who disappeared. Others who committed suicide for always having been with Ash, and not only women, some of the husbands of the women who cheated on them with Ash also appeared dead, others just got rid of them, everything was chaos. Many asked their leaders to come forward and explain what happened, but they didn't get what they wanted. 3 of the Mau were not there. There was only the one who held the title Asmodeus, the others were unknown. There was a clue about his whereabouts with Ajuka. It was said that he was with Surziches because of the news that his wife was cheating on him and his mother. Things were no different in the other mythologies. But it was not the only news that circulated in the supernatural. Many talked about the exile and his display of abilities, in addition to his surprising power that had been demonstrated even in his final transformation. Many said that he obtained that power to take revenge on them for having banished him, others they said that he only obtained that power to live without being bothered. But what surprised him most was discovering that he was the guy who saved Sequeira from her wedding, so most thought that for the simple fact that he was the heiress's lover. Aguirres would have a possible return to their ranks, so he quickly attracted journalists of all races to the Aguirres family home. You could see how the Aguirres territory was surrounded by mythology journalists looking for some premise from them. They had been since yesterday waiting for someone to give a note. Suddenly everyone sees how the doors of the Aguirres mansion open, showing the patriarchs coming towards them. Everyone when they saw them began to record and approach the fence. Journalist 1. Excuse me, good afternoon, could you give us information about your daughter's relationship with the fallen hero? Journalist 2. Excuse me, do you have any information on the current state of the exile after his fight? Journalist 3. It is possible that he told us some information about how he obtained those powers that he demonstrated. Thus they were all giving their questions to the patriarchs. When they saw that Mr. Aguirres was about to speak, they all fell silent, paying attention. Lord Aguirres. At the moment we cannot give much information since we do not know much about this. Our daughter did not mention to us that she was in a relationship with Issei. At the moment we can only show you this about what happened after the fight. From his hand a sphere was formed where he showed how they were outside the barrier, seeing how Issei appeared in his transformation until when all the girls took him home to heal him. Everyone was paying attention. This was a premise. All the civilians saw the mini interview that was happening, but he spoke again, attracting everyone's attention. Lord Aguirres. That is all we know. We do not know his current status, but we believe that our daughter will soon come to clarify some things. He said, leaving the mansion. Everyone was surprised. The current couple and the only person known to have knowledge about this would give an exclusive soon, so they began to prepare the stage for it, while inside the mansion in the hall appeared Sequeira and the others being received by the servants who helped them go to Sequeira's parents. Sequeira. Hello mother, father, how are you? Lady Aguirres. My daughter, we are fine, and how are you? Lord Aguirres only nodded to his daughter. Sequeira. We are fine mother, but I need you to call Patriarchs Astaroth and Belphegor. This they should know too, then I will talk to the press about it, but I need to discuss it first with all of you before revealing it. Lord Aguirres. Don't worry, I let them know right away to come. Everyone retreated to wait for the others. Sequeira and the others were preparing for what they would do and what they would say to the patriarchs and the people outside. A while later, on the outskirts of the mansion in the front part, the 2 missing families appeared, drawing the attention of the journalists, but they could not ask anything because they entered the mansion. Once everyone was in the Sequeira room and was beating, they proceeded to start the meeting. Sequeira. Well, first of all I thank you for coming to this meeting. I will clarify some things here first, then we will take care of the press, so that they do not cause more problems for this. Lord Belphegor, I want to tell you that I will clarify your daughter's misunderstanding, so that she came with me when we left the party, so don't worry about that, since she has nothing to do with Issei. Lord Belphegor. Okay, don't worry about that, our daughter already clarified it to us when we were at home, but I appreciate that you clarified that with the press. Lady Belphegor. As my husband said, she told us everything, even about her little plan between you. She said, smiling. Sequeira. I see that I told you about that, so there is nothing more I should tell you since she is not interested in it, as was spoken and implied. Upon hearing that, Roygun made a grimace that no one but his mother noticed. Sequeira. Well, having clarified that with the Belphegor patriarchs, now the rest continues. Leisha. Let me take care of the Sequeira. Well parents, as you heard, we will clarify matters later with the press, and we will make our relationship with Issei clear. There we will say that we are his mates. Lord Astaroth. So you will do that and you will not listen to us as always. We told you that we did not accept that you were in a relationship with someone we did not know, and now you come out with that someone is neither more nor less than the fallen hero. I will not allow that, you are the one. Heir to our clan, how do you think everyone takes it? You should get together with someone better who will give status to the clan. Leisha. Like who? Like Asher, should I say, or Isabam? If I had listened and obeyed you, who knows what would happen to me right now? You are not interested in my well-being, only the power. What would have happened to me? I paid into you and got together with him. Leisha's parents lowered their heads when listening to their daughter. Leisha. Don't worry about your status. In the talk we will give, I will imply that I am leaving my position as heir to the family and disaffiliating me from everything. What she said surprised everyone. The mother felt that her heart was broken by what her daughter said, while the father did not know what to do. His only daughter would stop being part of his family, and all because of his pride and desire to be recognized. Nobody said anything until someone spoke to calm the situation. Lady Aguirre's. And? Daughter, how is he? Sikvera. He's better right now, he's a little weak, but he's not in danger. At least we were able to cure him at least. Lord Aguirre's. And could you tell me what that plan that Mr. Belphegor talked about is? Sikvera. Well, it's not just Leisha and I who were interested in Issei, so we decided to form a harem so that they could be with him too, but I'm the leader because I was the first to be with him, although there were some who were in love with him. Before, I was the one who first formalized the relationship. Lord Belphegor. Wait, there are more girls with brown hair besides you. Leisha. Yes, there are enough of us. In fact, even some members of Sikvera's entourage are participating in this initiative. She said, looking at the 4 friends of Sikvera's entourage who blushed. Even some girls from her academy apart from the director, a teacher and the nurse. Lady Belphegor. Well, don't expect there to be many. Sikvera. And I still need to name 2 Valkyries and an angel and her guardian or follower, apart from the original Leviathan. Lady Aguirre's. Wait, she is also interested in him. Leisha. If we say that she was the first to fall in love with him when she was just 5 years old. That surprised the 3 families. The former leader, who was never interested in any man, fell in love with Issei. Sikvera. Well, if you allow me, we should go and finish what we have to do with the press, then we can continue talking about this, so we retire to prepare for it. Everyone nodded and separated. Sikvera and the others went to get ready for the interview, while the current patriarchs of the clan stayed to talk, and the matriarchs went to do their things, except Lady Belphegor, who wanted to talk to her daughter. Lady Belphegor. Daughter, what happens because you are like this? Roigun. What are you talking about, mother? I'm fine, nothing's wrong with me. Lady Belphegor. My daughter, she may be older, but I know when something happens to my own daughter, tell me it's because of what your friend said. Roigun. What he says is nothing, mother. Lady Belphegor. Perhaps you have something for Issei. Roigun. I don't know, mother, I feel strange when I'm around him. I don't know what's wrong with me, but when he said that, I felt a little bothered by it, but I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. I just know what everyone says about him. Lady Belphegor. There, my daughter, you just have to get to know him better, then you will be able to decipher what you feel for him, and your friends agree that he has more than one lover, so why don't you try? Roigun. But I don't think father will like this. Lady Belphegor. Don't worry about that, I'll talk to him now, go and tell your friends that you'll try to get to know him better, and then you'll give him your decision about what to do with him. Roigun hugged her mother for what she told her, and her friends went to accompany them. A little further away we can see Leisha's mother looking for her, in which she manages to see her daughter talking with Sikvera while they were waiting for the others to go to the conference. Lady Asterith. Daughter, can I speak with you alone for a moment please? Leisha. It's okay, but it will only be a moment. If you say something about my relationship I will leave right away. They both went to another place. Lady Asterith. Daughter, please think about what you will do, you cannot leave the family just because I know you love him, but you cannot abandon us. Leisha. But you made that decision, you started thinking about what I once wanted. Lady Asterith. Listen, I know that I am not the best mother and that I will never be interested in the things that you like, but I don't want to lose you because of this argument. I don't want my only daughter to abandon me. I won't be able to resist it, so please don't ask you to leave me. Your lover, I only ask that you not separate us from your life. Leisha. I don't know, I don't want to have to listen to you say what you want me to do for the family, but I know that I won't be able to be without you. I'm still very young, and I need my parents, and I know that you will try to change, but I don't know about being a father. Well, I will give them one more chance, but the next time my decision will be absolute, and I will leave the family even if it hurts me, you understand, mother. Lady Asterith. Thank you, daughter, I swear that I will try to make this family better even if I have to leave your father. She said, crying with happiness, hugging her daughter. A while later Leisha went with the others to start the interview once and for all. All the reporters were sitting in front of the column of tables for Sikvera and the others. At that point everyone noticed that Kurama was already on top of a table watching them. When they were about to ask, they heard more people heading to the seats. Sikvera and the others came out of the door. Accompanied by the heiress Belphegor, they all proceeded to sit down. Sikvera. Well, start with your questions please. Everyone began to ask their questions, but then one raised his voice. Journalist 1. Could you give us some details about the current condition of the exile after his confrontation? Sakvara. He is currently fine, although he is still a little weak from his injuries, his health is not in danger at the moment. Journalist 2. Currently it is known that he was the guy who rescued her from the ceremony that day, can you confirm that? Sakvara. Exactly, he was the hooded man who interrupted that day, which is why we are a couple. Journalist 3. So he is your current lover, is there anything you can tell us about that, and if there is someone else romantically involved with him, since several girls were worried about him when the fight happened? Leisha. I can answer that, currently he is in a relationship with several women apart from me and Sakvara, we cannot say the names of some for safety, but we can name some as the members of my man's entourage. She said pointing to the 4 friends. Journalist 4. And what about the heiress Belphegor, that day she accompanied them when they retired, implying that she was part of this. Sakvara was going to answer. Roygun spoke before. Roygun. Currently I am not romantically involved with him, but I do not deny that I could be in the future, depending on how I get along with him. I already have the permission of my friends, I just need to accept to see if this relationship works. The others were surprised by this, but left it for later because they kept asking. Journalist 5. What can you tell us about your new powers and your current strength? Kurama. I will respond to being the one who knows his limits best. I can tell you that his strength does not have a limit at the moment, so it is constantly increasing, and as for his powers he developed them recently, but I will only say that since the rest is classified. Journalist 2. What can you tell us about your future? Some think that there may be a possible return on your part in the supernatural ranks. You can say something about it. Sakvara. That will not be possible, he made it clear that he would not return to the ranks after they cut him off from any contact with the supernatural except for us, so his return to the supernatural will not be possible. Many viewers were surprised to hear that, some gave credence to that decision, while others didn't like that he was out of this. Journalist 4. But currently he was involved in the fights with the new enemies that appeared, that does not indicate that he is on our side. Sakvara. Those events did not occur because the enemy wanted to capture him, so he only defended himself against them. Journalist 5. And regarding what his former fiancés are going through now, he mentioned something about it. Sakvara. He won't do anything about it, according to him it happened because of his decisions, so he won't intervene in anything, he doesn't care what they are going through because they caused it. Most of them didn't like those words, but they knew that they couldn't say anything about it, what they said was true. Sakvara. Well, that was all, please leave. Everyone proceeded to leave the place keeping in mind what was said today, but not only them were aware of this, the demonic council did not like the idea that the exile was not on their side against this new enemy, and even more so. After the strength and power shown during their battle, they would not allow that strength to be lost to their ranks, but since they would have the brunette come to them to convince him to talk, they knew that they could not force him, they did not want him to turn against them. But they were not the only ones interested in Victor. After seeing his fight against his generals, he knew that it would not be easy to catch him, so he would try to get him to join him in another way. Some of his generals agreed because of the death of their comrades. At his hand, but there were 4 girls who thought it was interesting that they wanted to get to know him better, since they fought with him, and he defeated them, they were interested in knowing how he could be so strong after everything he went through. But there was someone else who was watching the brunette, but he couldn't communicate with him. At the moment, he wasn't in that plane to see him in person. He could only watch him, hoping that at some point he could communicate with him in some way. 11. Many things were about to happen and everything revolved around him, he will have many things to think about, and he must be ready for the future events that will happen. The week had passed since the fight with Issei and the interview with the girls. Issei spent a few days resting thanks to Smith helping him with his faults, and Ryder showing him what he gave those days that he was not there. It should be said that during this time it was getting to know their new partners better, forming a bond with all of them. The day he was going to his academy again, he was better and could attend the few days that were left before the winter break began, but he did not expect that today would be different. He had arrived and noticed that there were more parents than normal, so he soon realized what was happening. It was the day where the tutors came to observe their children. Issei was a little thoughtful when he saw the others with their parents, but he didn't give it much importance and headed to his classroom. It should be said that when he entered everyone went towards him to find out the reason for his mistakes. No one knew why, but the brunette said. But he had an accident where he hurt himself showing some cuts that he had on his arms. Some girls in his class were worried about it, but they couldn't continue because the teacher arrived and the parents had also come in. The teacher began to name his students and see to his parents, but when it was Issei's turn. Teacher. Issei hi. Sorry. Issei. It doesn't matter, it must have been because of the time I was gone, but don't worry. Everyone saw him, they knew from him the problems he had with his family, but his parents did not know why he did not say his last name and why his parents were not there. Well, Ruby and her friends were about to go to him to comfort him, but Issei looked at them and gave them a smile that told them that he was fine, so they decided to ignore him for now. Time had passed and the class ended. Some went with their parents to their clubs or talked to them, but the brunette went to his club just to wait for the next class to start. And to pass the time he began to compose the lyrics of a song to sing with one of his girls in the future. He had just finished writing it when the bell rang for the next class, so he went to his daemon being the first to enter. Little by little the others arrived with their parents, but they saw how Issei was alone, so they asked their children about the boy's parents. They were all sad to know that his family had thrown him away, but when the teacher I was going to say Issei's name, someone knocked on the door being attended to by the teacher seeing a blonde girl. Teacher. Excuse me, miss, but who are you and why you are here? Sikvara. Excuse me, I'm Sikvara Agers and I'm here for the meeting of students and family. Teacher. Who oh and which student is you coming from? Sikvara. I came from Issei. Teacher. Oh perfect, I was just about to name it, pass. She said, entering again and drawing everyone's attention. Well, Issei, your sister has apparently arrived. That confused everyone. Issei didn't have a sister and his family had left him, but everyone saw Sikvara enter, getting the looks of several boys and a smile from Issei and the others, since they knew what he was doing there. Teacher. Well, miss, you can go to your brother's side. Sikvara. Excuse me but I'm not his sister. She said, still confusing everyone. Teacher. And then what relationship does he have with him then? Everyone paid attention to his answer. Sikvara. Well, I'm his fiancé. She said, giving a smile, who Issei smiled at that. It should be said that hearing her claim to be his fiancé left everyone shocked, but the boys immediately screamed, which is why the brunette had a fiancé, and she was beautiful. While the girls became depressed, they all began to see Issei with different eyes during this time, more so now that he stopped doing perversions, and he dedicated himself to being a musician in his club. Many became his fans because of this, but now his dreams were destroyed by this girl who claimed to be his future wife. Teacher. Young Issei, that's true. She said seeing him. Issei. Yes, it's true, she and I are engaged. Those simple words caused everything to turn upside down. The students were devastated and the parents were incredulous about this, but before it could get even more out of control the speakers rang. Smith Principal. Good afternoon to all students and families, we ask you to please come to the recreation room for a small event on behalf of the school. Thank you very much for your attention. Everyone headed towards the living room. Smith. Good afternoon everyone, Kuo Academy has a small event for all of our students' families today, and to start this event, I asked the music club to come up on stage to give us a small show of their compositions. Said while looking at Issei who was surprised and embarrassed. Everyone who knew how Issei sang was happy to hear it. Issei. That's why he asked me about my songs. He said nervously. Sikvara. Don't worry Issei, I know you will do well, your music is very good, so don't be afraid, and I am here with you, so go and show what you are capable of. Issei sighed and decided to go to the stage. It would be his first concert that he would give, but seeing Sikvara smile encouraged him, so he went to the curtain, seeing Smith along with Ryder and Chisato who encouraged him. Issei was in a chair next to his guitar and computer and started with one of his most upbeat songs. Everyone was singing along to the song, and the parents were surprised by Issei's way of singing. When the song finished she thought about singing one more directed at Sikvara and her mate, one that she didn't play yet but she knew perfectly well. Issei. Well, to finish with this event I would like to ask a person important to me if she could sing it with me, since thanks to her, I was able to move forward when everything seemed to end for me, who was the one who gave me a reason to move forward, and who was the one who taught me what it is to love someone unconditionally. I asked my girl Sikvara if she could give me the honor of singing with me today. Everyone was surprised by the brunette's words, and Sikvara was about to cry because of his sweet words, so she went up to the stage, making Issei and the others smile, and surprising the parents and students with this. And that's where they started. When they finished they both saw each other and kissed under everyone's gaze. The women were shouting with joy while the men looked at the brunette with respect for that. Issei. Thank you for making me happy along with the rest, Si-chan. Sikvara. You are the best thing that could have happened to me, Ice-kun, but now let me show you something, Issei, grabbing the microphone and starting to sing. Everyone was surprised to see both of them showing their love through their songs. After that, they both left the stage while receiving everyone's applause and went with the others. It had been a while since Issei had given the show, and now he was with all of Sakura and the others, Ruby and her friends, Leisha and her entourage, Rumi and Aika with Kurama, sitting outside in the courtyard waiting for the show to come. Lunchtime talking about what they did on stage while their parents were talking to their teachers. Sakura. You know we should talk to your parents about our relationship with Issei. Rumi. Haha, yes, we should take the opportunity to tell you about that. Issei. We can invite them to dinner at our house when the day is over, and we will tell them there that it would be easier and more private. Ruby. It's a good idea, so we show them who you are too. Kurama. Assuming they don't kill you knowing beforehand. Issei. Haha. He laughed nervously while everyone laughed about it. Everyone agreed with the idea and went to the cafeteria to invite their parents, but they didn't know that something would happen during their lunch that would be very inopportune. They met their parents in the cafeteria and began to eat together while getting to know each other. Rumi's father. Hey Issei, I would like to ask you something if it is possible. Issei. Yes sir, no problem. Rumi's father. Could you tell me what happened to your parents? Rumi's mother. Dear. Sorry, Issei is a little curious about the boys who talked to his daughter. Rumi was very blushing at what her mother said while pinching her father for asking that question. Issei. Don't worry, it's nothing important, and on that matter it's a little complicated to explain, but my parents kicked me out of the family for another person, who they considered a better son than me. They had kicked me out of the family as well as they took my family name away from me. You can say that I was exiled from it. All the adults were surprised and saddened by this. The boy had been kicked out of his home by his own family. Father Ruby. I'm sorry kid, but where are you living now? Issei. Don't worry, I live in my own home now next to Sakura. I had some savings of my own from a previous job, and with that I was able to buy my house. For now I can survive on it until I finish my studies, then I will look for a job so I can have income. Aika's father. Wow, you are very responsible and self-dependent. Many would not know what to do if that happened to them. You surprise me, boy, you are a very strong man not to fall. Weiss's mother. To be honest, young man, I thought you were a simple boy who believed himself a lot, but you showed me otherwise. Despite what happened to you, you did not fall and you kept going. You are amazing. Issei. Thank you, but I don't think it's true. There was a time when I wouldn't even have given myself support, the truth is, but I matured after that. That's why now I can say that I'm a better person than I was before. You know, I was talking to everyone before seeing them, and I wanted to invite them to come to my house for dinner at the end of the academy. Since we wanted to tell them something very important. Bren's mother. And you can't tell us now. Bren. Mother, what we will say is something very important and private, and we need to be in a better place without anyone but us. That's why we plan to have this dinner. The adults saw each other and their children and accepted the invitation, but when they were about to continue their talk, they began to hear the students who began to greet someone at the entrance of the cafeteria. Issei felt the essence of that person, which he knew him very well, and he didn't know why he was here. His friends, seeing him like that, looked behind him, seeing the person he least wanted to be near Issei. His women were angry to see him there, being seen by his parents who didn't know why this was happening. Sakura was next to Issei seriously. He didn't need to turn around to know who the person was who was approaching them, or rather his mate. Hello Issei, I'm glad to see you again after this time that we haven't seen each other. He said, approaching the brunette trying to touch him. Aren't you going to greet me Issei, she said, about to rest her hand on his shoulder. But before he could do it, another hand caught her, preventing him from touching it. Sakura. Can I possibly know why you are here? Well, you try to touch what is mine, Riaz, he said, looking at her out of the corner of his eye from his seat. Riaz. Sakura-san, I didn't see you, but what are you doing here? You shouldn't be doing something else. Don't you see that I have some important matters here to talk to my pretty Kmai? He said, starting to exert more strength. Sakura stood up and moved her way, facing her, both of them staring at each other, under the watchful gaze of those present in the cafeteria. Riaz. Issei, please, I need to talk to you, please, I need you to listen to me. She said with a sad tone but also desire. Sakura. And why he should listen to you after what they did to him? Do you want to apologize or something like that? Well, I won't allow it. I won't let you get close to him, and if you try something, I'll take care of showing you your place myself. Riaz became angry because Sakura did not let her get close to Issei, so she confronted her by releasing a little of her power, so that it was imperceptible to the spectators, but Sakura was not far behind and imitated her. When this happened, the others stood up and Issei looked at Riaz. Riaz. Issei, please come, we need to talk alone. She said with a somewhat disturbing look. Everyone upon seeing her realized that she is not mentally stable, but Sakura did not care about that, so she would not stop to destroy her even more. Sakura. You won't, Riaz, he won't go with you because now he has me as his lover and fiancé, so I'll tell you just once. I want you to stay away from my husband and future father of my children, or else you'll find out what I am capable of doing. You are nobody to him. You are just a simple bad memory that he will eliminate with me by supplanting those memories with some of mine, and you know something, he will treasure those memories when we are alone without anyone being able to see us," he said, approaching him and whispering to him. When Riaz heard her, she had lost the little patience she had. She was going to attack her, and she didn't care at all that people were watching, but when she was about to do it, Smith appeared. "Smith. What is happening here, young Gremory? You no longer belong to this institution, so you should not be here, as I know you do not have any family here, so I ask you to please leave this establishment, or else I will be forced to leave. Call the relevant authorities to solve it." She said she would be serious about seeing the redeed. Riaz looked at her and saw that everyone was looking at her, so she clicked her mouth and turned around, leaving for the exit, but not before saying something. "Riaz. Sikvera, at some point we will both have a little talk about our friendship and certain things, so we will see each other soon." Then I look at Issei, leaving his serious face for a smile. "And after that we can talk, Issei, about ourselves, so see you then, my cute Kmai," he said, giving her a smile as he left the place. Issei was silent, watching her left. He didn't expect her to come to the academy to see him, and so quickly, and he didn't even know that she would possibly try some other way to see him. "Issei. Thank you, Smith, that's why I didn't know what would happen if you hadn't intervened," he said, giving him a warm smile. "Smith. Don't worry, it's my duty as director," she said, getting closer to his ear. "And as your mate, darling," I whisper flirtatiously, making the brunette tremble. Then everyone returned to the table and Smith to the address. "Sikvera. I apologize for that scene. We don't get along very well due to certain events between us. Ika's mother. Don't worry, I understand what you did. I did the same thing with my husband when I met him, so don't be sad." That made everyone laugh while Ika reproached her mother for that. Issei. "Well, I think we should postpone dinner for another day due to a certain issue, so I will notify your children of the date for that. I apologize." Urmi's father. "Don't worry, we understand, so we will wait for the invitation when it is the day I liked you, boy." Issei. "Thank you, sir." After that, everyone went to the classroom for their last class. When they were leaving with Sikvera, they were just about to leave the academy grounds, but Issei noticed a sacred presence on the roof watching them, so he directed as he looked at that place, but didn't see who it was, but he recognized that aura. "Issei. Archangel of Revolution. Gabriel," he said seriously, looking forward again, going home. The angel was in the sky looking at Issei with a look of lust, but if you look at it, we could see how one of its wings was black, while the other was still white. "Gabriel. My dear guardian, I will soon come to see you so that you can be with me in heaven where we both belong, and I swear that I will never let you go again, since only you can have me and love me, heh," he said, giving a demented look as he left the place. Flying. Underworld. Meeting room. We can see the few leaders who are in good condition after what happened. Among them are Mahu Asmodeus being the only one on behalf of the demons, Azazel of the Fallen, Michael of the Angels, Auden of the Asgardians, and Tannen on behalf of the dragons. Azazel. "Well, first of all, I'm glad that most of us can meet here today after what happened." Auden. "Azazel, you know how it is possible that that unfortunate man was still alive, and how he could deceive us so easily." Azazel. "Well, we found out that it was not the original, but a clone of his, apparently, since his cells were decomposing rapidly, which happened with the previous clone of his that we met." Tannen. "But we hadn't finished off all of them before." Azazel. "Apparently they weren't all of them, and I don't know if there are more of them out there. Regarding how he could infiltrate our ranks, it's because of this," he said, showing the remains of the pendant he had that day. "Apparently this object has the ability to hide and change the essence of its wearer, was so perfect as to deceive us all, even the dragon goddesses, but what surprises me is that when scanning it, we found no data on the material it was made of. It is not made with any material that we know, and the magic it uses is different from ours. I don't know where it comes from." Asmodeus Falbium. "So we totally don't know how he was able to get this thing. We don't have any information about how he was able to get this object then, or what he did to the girls to make them feel weak." Azazel. "Exactly, we are in doubt regarding this, but at least we did not have any attack from the Legion at the moment. The confrontation they had left them very weak, so they will be strengthening themselves before being 100% with their plans again, which it gives us free rein to prepare as best we can, but we don't know anything else, and we have no way of discovering how Rizavam achieved this." Auden. "Wait, maybe if we have it, remember the Kateria was alive and appeared at the party, maybe she knows something about this, we should bring her and interrogate her." Michael. "But I don't think it's possible. Remember that she left with Sikvera, so she's possibly with Issei, and because of how she is and how we treat her, I don't think she'll let us bring her. It's more likely that she'll attack us as soon as we get close to her." Falbium. Then let's do this calmly. We offer her something in exchange for her testimony. She surely wanted to stop being persecuted, so how about we offer her absolution of her crimes in exchange for her knowledge about this? Azazel. But how do we contact them? Palbium. Let's call the Queen of Latia, Rose, she knows where she is, just give her the message she communicated to her queen, and she will tell the others. Lykel. Then where will we do the meeting? Auden. Where else but right here. Lykel. I don't think they will come anymore if Issei accompanies her, we should do it at the academy where it is safer for them to agree to go. Azazel. Well, I think we already know what to do. Now how things are going in their factions. Auden. Well, there were several revolts when this was known, many Valkyries committed suicide for having been with Rizavum. Now we are a little calmer, but we had to leave almost all the women who were under surveillance, so that they do not try anything. Ross is with his grandmother who she is taking care of her, but I don't think she is ready to help yet. Azazel. I understand that in my case it's the same, except that Penemu generated a trauma because of the men. If someone approaches her she gets out of control and leaves him very badly hurt, and Lefei doesn't know what to do, her brother takes care of her at the moment, but I don't know anything but of them. Tannen, do you have any news about Tiamat and Valerie? Tannen. Well, things are complicated, despite the psychological help we provide to all of them, they are very unstable, they attack anyone who approaches them, but we have nothing about Office and Scarlet, none of them can get out of the breach. Michael. In my case it's the same, except that I don't know what's wrong with Gabriel. I knew that this would affect her, but I didn't expect that she would become very cold with everyone, and something else happened. One of her wings turned dark, we don't know why it happened, she changed. Sometimes people see that he starts to laugh with a crazy look while naming Issei. Everyone was surprised by this. Tannen. Why him? Michael. I don't know, but I asked for the help of one of my angels who specializes in the mind and state of people to analyze it along with the others. I wanted to know what was happening to them. Azazel. Wait, what about the others? Michael. It wasn't just her but the other girls too, although not all of them accepted it like Valerie, Tiamat, and the goddesses. Let me call her, so she can tell us what she saw about her condition. He said while asking her to come closer. The brown girl with 4 pairs of wings came out of the door, walked to Michael's side and introduced herself. Dahlia. Good afternoon, leaders, my name is Dahlia, and I was tasked with analyzing the mental state of the majority of those affected. Michael. Can you give us details of what you were able to discover about his condition? Dahlia. Of course Michael-sama, thanks to the studies and tests that were done on each of them, we were able to see that they entered a very strong state of denial, so to avoid suffering more, they forced themselves to forget certain things about their lives. Minds and leaving them in a moment where they were happy with someone, but they don't remember much about him, they only say some vague descriptions of his image, but they all agreed that he was their precious happiness which was closely related to the color brown. Everyone got tense because of this, they had an idea of who it could be. But they can't remember more about him, only that they describe him as their greatest happiness, even from some older women like Miss Benelana and Grafia among others. Azazel. Wait, how is it possible if they were never related to him in that way as far as we know? Dahlia. It's true, they never had that relationship. Those present calmed down a little. But they felt those kinds of feelings for him thanks to knowing him. Everyone was tense about this. They all see him as perfection for them. Even when we asked them the reason for this, they all said the same thing, even the others who did have any relationship with him, said it because he is mine and I am his. Everyone was surprised and worried when they heard that, even Falbium who was starting to fall asleep became serious when he heard it. Dahlia. Her condition is very fragile, anything related to it could trigger all of them to completely lose their sanity. If they suffered a strong impact on some issue related to it, it is possible that they would end up breaking completely, making it impossible to help them. That's why I recommend leaving her under surveillance, in case they try something like that. Azazel. Perfect is what was missing, now we must make sure that they don't see it, or that they were like that. Dahlia. Not necessarily Lord Azazel, it is a possibility, but if the exile helps us with them, it is possible that they will regain their stability, but it will depend on how he sees them. Michael. I mean if we can get him to come and help them they will get back together. Dahlia. Exactly, but I don't know if he agrees to help them due to the recent events with him. Everyone was thinking about what to do now, they knew that if he helped them everything would be better, but if he didn't want to, it was very likely that everything would get even worse. Meanwhile Issei Sakura's residence. Everyone was sitting talking about what happened at the academy, and they were seeing what would happen in the future. Issei. Don't expect to see them so soon. Alicia. I didn't think Lady Gabriel would come to the academy to see you, I'll have to tell Michael about this. Laisha. I didn't think they would be so hypocritical to appear in front of you after everything they did. Sakvara. Believe me, I almost made it happen if Smith-san hadn't intervened. It's possible that everything would end in a fight between us. Smith. Don't worry, I almost did the same thing, but there were too many people. Ryder. I didn't feel it when they both entered the academy. We must be more careful, this won't be the only time they appear. Issei. Well, at least I don't end up in majors, but we need to prepare ourselves in case they try something. They are not well, and we don't know what things are possible for them to do to get to me. Chisato. Don't worry, we'll be ready if they try something next time. Issei. Thank you girls for everything. After a while they all retired, leaving the brunette alone in the house. Sakura and Leisha had homework to do regarding their jobs, so they left, and Kurama accompanied them. Issei decided to go to sleep since today was a pretty busy day, but before he went to the bathroom since he wanted to take a bath, but he didn't count on someone being there. Issei when he entered couldn't help but blush and get very hot. In front of him was Kateria taking a bath, but as if the water that fell on her was just barely there. Her slender and sensual body left a lot to think about what to do with her. Issei was very fascinated by the views he had of her curves, her beautiful butt that screamed to be spanked with everything, her breasts that looked like they wanted to be sucked by Issei, and to make matters worse, she was on her back giving him a perfect view of it. Issei could barely control himself, but before he left he saw how Kateria crouched down, giving a perfect view of her privacy and her hanging breasts. Issei couldn't take it anymore to see this, and he was about to leave before he realized it, but then he heard someone talking to him. Kateria. What's up cutie, maybe you don't want to give me a taste, I wouldn't mind, you know how I feel about you. He said, coming out of the shower and reaching out to the one who was on his back trying to hold on. Maybe that's not why you came, dear. Issei. No Kateria-san, it's just that you didn't know you were here, I was about to take a bath and go to sleep, since I have nothing to do, that's why I came in. He said very embarrassed. I'd better leave until you finish. Kateria. Wow, I see that now you are more cooperative with this, Ice. That's when she sees that Issei begins to pant while he had his head down, making her think that she went a little too far. Time skip. They both continued doing it for a while longer in the shower until the brunette came back, but he didn't stop there, but continued until they went to Kateria's room where they continued although both were totally out of control. Issei was so abrupt that when he attacked a Kateria that was leaning on some piece of furniture was so forceful that they ended up breaking it. Both of them were like animals reproducing, as if that were the only thing that mattered to them. The walls had cracks because of what they did when they collided with them. The next morning they were both in what was left of their bed covered by just a few quilts that were a little healthy due to the scratches that Kateria gave from how Issei grabbed him, as well as his back and chest. They both woke up seeing the destruction they had caused by their small show of affection. Issei. What happened? He said a little tired. Kateria. Hello honey, I really enjoyed last night, you were relentless, you looked like a beast. She said a little flirtatiously, giving him a kiss. Issei. Sorry, you're fine Kateria-san, I didn't hurt you. Kateria. No, my life is more, you were fantastic, I enjoyed it a lot, but you were a little abrupt in continuing to do it to me, even though I was barely conscious, but I'm not complaining. Issei. Sorry but that was due to a certain effect that I have due to my bond with Kurama, it makes me lose control as if it were an animal's heat stage, and now with my recent transformation, I feel that it intensified that. Kateria. Well, it wouldn't bother me if you were a little wilder, honestly, I really liked what we did even though it wasn't your first time. Issei. Wait Kateria, that was your first time? Why didn't you tell me? If I had known, I would have behaved differently, I would have done it more circa. He was silenced by a kiss from her. Kateria. Issei, that doesn't matter, what really matters to me is that you have accepted me as yours, although if it is important the first time I am glad that you were the one who took her away from me, I couldn't ask for anything more, remember that since the day I met you for the first time I started to feel something for you, and now I was finally able to show it to you. Just swear to me that you would love me like Sakura and Leisha, and that you would not abandon me for anything in the world. Issei. I promise, I will not stop loving you just like all of them, each of you is an important part of my life, and I will not let anything or anyone take it away from me. Both were about to kiss when suddenly the door opens, seeing the other girls except for Ren, Jom and Kurama, who did not want to be present in the face of the possible fight that was coming. Sakura. I'm glad you say that, my love, but I think you should come down for a moment, we need to talk to Kateria about a certain matter. He said with a smile that gave a bad feeling. Issei. But. Leisha. What's wrong Issei-kun, do you think we're going to do something bad? Issei. And no, that's because of something else. Ruby. Don't you want us to do something to her for what they did? Issei. It's not for any reason that I can't go down right now for you. Brunhild. Who, oh, and why can't you do it because of our presence? Issei. I don't have my underwear or any clothing since it was destroyed, and if I get up I won't be able to cover myself," he said sadly. All the girls blushed because of that detail that was missed, but Aika went to Issei's room and brought him some boxers and sports shorts. Issei. "Thank you, Aika, but how did you know where my underwear was?" he said confused. They all saw her, making her embarrassed. After Issei came down and the other boys bothered him, the girls began their talk about what Kateria did. Although there was no physical fight, there was a verbal one where they spent a while fighting, seeing who was next to Issei. While in another place we see 4 girls who were neither more nor less than the 4 enemy generals talking about a certain brown-haired man and his strength. 2A. "I didn't think it was that powerful, we were barely able to escape. Maria. And they had supposedly taken away all his power. I don't know how he could have such strength after what he experienced. 2B. And we thought he would be devastated by what happened to him with his ex-lovers, but he showed us great strength of conviction to move forward. I find it incredible that he did not give up in front of all of us and was even able to defeat some of us." "Us," she said, a little surprised and happy. 2A. "Sister, what's wrong with you? I see you very happy about that. Are you attracted to him?" 2B. "It's not that, but you know that I like people who don't give up on anything, even if they have the world against them." "Worry. Then you wouldn't mind if I made it mine, right?" she said flirtatiously. 2B2A. "What?" they said, looking a little upset and jealous. "Worry. Since our leader said that he wanted to make him join us peacefully, I thought it would be a good opportunity to join him. He is a powerful person, which attracts me since I want my future husband to be someone very strong because to my dragon blood. 2B. I won't let you, if someone will be with him, it will be me, and you don't know anything about him. At least I was collecting information about him to get to know him. I even know that he is dedicated to making songs." Saber. "Enough, you two, then you will see who stays with him. Now we must prepare for our day of rest and where we will go for it. Remember that we need new clothes and we won't be able to get them here, so we will go to the human world to look for clothes and other things." They both saw their captain, so they separated when they saw that she was serious. Saber. 2 of me were with a girl with raging hormones. I don't know what they see in that guy, he's still our enemy, they shouldn't say those things. Issei and the others were sitting in the room, the atmosphere was serious. A letter from the factions had been delivered by Rose to the brunette and Kateria. It must be said that everyone was worried. They did not know what they wanted from Issei. With Kateria was obvious, but they didn't expect Issei to be invited too. Kurama. Because we don't see the content of the letter and then decide our next step based on its content. Issei. You're right, what is it that says? Good afternoon, through the following letter, Miss Kateria Leviathan is summoned to have a talk about what happened during the previous event. She is requested so that she can give us information about it in exchange for a reward for her words. If she gives us any information about what happened, she will be granted absolution for her sins and will not be hunted again as a criminal. Everyone was surprised at this, including Kateria and Issei. They were giving him the opportunity to be free without crime in exchange for the information he has about the Legion and their plans. Issei. It is also requested that the exile be present with her for having her as a guest to have a conversation about some matters. They are requested to attend the academy this afternoon in the student hall for the meeting. AKA. The biblical leaders. Everyone felt how Issei began to emanate a purple aura. Everyone remembered what Barkers had told them and went to calm him down. Sakvara. Don't worry, honey, they should have invited you because Kateria is with you and they thought that she wouldn't go if you didn't go too, that's why they called you. Issei. Do you really believe that? It won't be some nonsense from that swan to make him serious and the others. Laisha. So Surziches hasn't appeared yet and Falbium is the one who is managing the entire territory until now, so I don't think they have anything to do with this. Issei. Then I guess I'll go then if it's just so that Kateria no longer has problems and not so that she can see those unhappy people, that's fine. Alicia. Don't worry, as none of them are in a position to leave their homes yet. Just recently a specialist from my people analyzed them and said that they were still too unstable for them to continue with their duties. Jer. I mean there shouldn't be any there. Issei. I don't think so, remember that Ria showed up to Gabriel too. I don't think they asked for permission to go out, so I guess they ran away to come see me. Kateria. Don't worry, if they appear, I'll take care of them. Remember that the only ones who would cause me problems would be the goddesses. Issei. That's just them and you don't lead them too. Rider. Then I will also accompany you in that case. Issei. Okay, the 3 of us will go while you finish your things. I appreciate that there is only the next week of school left, so we can go somewhere to rest a little from all this. Smith. Then we better finish what we have left right now so we can go on vacation then. Everyone was happy about that and went to do their homework, while the brunette took advantage of the fact that it was early morning and went for a walk around the city to clear his mind. In the center we see the 4 generals dressed casually walking through the stores buying their things. They took advantage of their day off for this. They had no idea that day they would meet the person who had defeated them overwhelmingly, which would leave them very intrigued by his way of being. While they were walking around, Issei was nearby in a park sitting on a bench. Suddenly he felt someone touch him on the shoulder. He focused his gaze on the person who touched him, seeing some first-year girls from his academy who had passed by. There and they recognized him. "Hello. This is an albino girl with light blue eyes who is a little shy. Sorry to bother you, but we are from the same academy, and when we saw you sitting here, we wanted to talk to you, since we saw your presentation at the institute's event, and we thought it was beautiful your way of singing, and we wanted to know if..." She couldn't say anything else since she felt very embarrassed for asking a boy if she could sing a song there. "Ah God, I apologize to my friend, but she doesn't know how to talk to boys. She is usually very proud, but when it comes to a man she tends to get nervous. What I wanted to ask you was if you could play a song here, if not it's a bother, since he quite liked what you did at the academy event," said a redhead who had a slightly trained body and a tattoo on her shoulder of a fairy type. "The truth is that we all liked your presentation," said a slightly short girl with black hair and a neutral look. "True, you were incredible that day that you left us wanting to hear you sing, but also don't worry about the guitar, I have one here since I just left my guitar classes." Issei. "Haha, I'm glad you liked it and I wouldn't mind singing right now. It would help me calm down a little," he said, grabbing the guitar while tuning it a little. The 4 girls were happy that he accepted, but one of them took out her phone and began to record it. It should be said that some interested people who heard their conversation came to listen to it. Issei. He thought about which of his songs he would sing, choosing one. When all the people heard him sing, they came up to see who the singer of that music was. Soon there was a large group of people in the square for his song, then when he finished everyone applauded for that beautiful song, even more so the people who were in love or married. Issei. "Well I guess you know that song, but now I'll show you a new one that I haven't released yet. It's more one for people who never give up, no matter how hard the blow they receive is." What Issei didn't expect to happen was for a record label agent to walk by. When he heard the brunette song, he approached to see who it was, being surprised. It must be said that he quickly called his boss and made him listen to what the brunette was singing. Many others. People do the same thing. A few minutes before the previous song ended, the 4 generals crossed near the square, watching how the people were heading towards it. Curiosity made them go to see. As they got closer, they began to hear the song which seemed beautiful to them. When they got to the front of the crowd, they saw their former target sitting there singing. They were all surprised even knowing who was the most stoic in these cases. When they heard the second song something in them made them stare at Issei. That song was a representation of him, it was his will to never fall. When the brunette finished, all the people present cheered for his songs. Some girls approached him and asked him for photos, others greeted him. After a while the place cleared, leaving Issei and the first girls who asked him to sing, chatting while a little apart were the 4 generals staring at him. When the 4 friends left, saying goodbye to the brunette. He was about to leave until he felt someone take his hand. When he turns around he sees Tupi and the others whom he did not know yet, since they were very different from when they fought together, so he did not recognize any of them. Tupi. Hello, I wanted to tell you that your voice is incredible in addition to your way of singing. Tupi. Sister, you can let it go now haha. Tupi, seeing that he still didn't let go, quickly did so, hiding his face in shame. Issei. I'm glad you liked my song, but I might know the names of the ladies in front of me, he said calmly as he smiled, and the sunset rays adorned that smile even more. It is worth saying that all of them blushed at that image. Then they all introduced themselves. It should be said that they talked for a few minutes until they had to leave there due to some matters, but they promised that the next time they saw each other, they would talk even more to get to know each other. Later we see Issei, Kateria and Ryder in front of the student lounge. When they passed they saw Azazel, Auden, Michael, Falbium who was sleeping and Tannen. Michael. I'm glad they agreed to come. Well, as stipulated, if Kateria gives us information about what is happening, the reward will be awarded for her crimes. Kateria went to the middle sitting down, while Issei stood aside in a corner, watching that they didn't try anything against her. She spent a while recounting everything, from her escape from death at the hands of Azazel, to when she appeared at the party. It should be said that they were surprised by the information she gave, but according to her, she does not know how they obtained that pendant or its origin, according to her. Victor and Rizavam one day had brought all kinds of mysterious materials, but they never revealed where they came from. That left a big doubt in everyone where they got these things from, but now they couldn't do anything, so they decided that Kateria would be free, since the information given was very helpful. Kateria was glad that she was now free and could be calm with Issei and the others. Issei, Ryder and Kateria proceeded to retreat, but before they left the room, Azazel stopped them. Azazel. Wait boy, we would like to talk for a while please, we need to ask you something. Issei stopped and turned his head, looking coldly at the leaders, giving them a chill. The environment began to become more negative and dark. It was as if the brunette's presence released a strong chilling aura, and his gaze did not help at all. Issei. And you think I care what you want to talk to me about? Remember that we are nothing, so I have no obligation to listen to you. I only came to see that Kateria was okay, nothing more. I don't give a damn what you have to say, tell me. Auden. Hey, calm down, kid, we just wanted to talk about what happened. Issei. It would be better if you didn't call me so familiarly. I'm not the same young man as before, and I won't hesitate to show you what I did before with your precious pillar. He said, giving a mocking smile. Tannen. Brett, you better watch your words. We are not here to pick a fight, just to talk like civilized people. Everyone was silent since Issei had sent a dagger to Tannen's head. Issei. Oh, now you want to speak like civilized people? No, and when you banished me, no one wanted to speak civilized. In fact, I couldn't even comment on anything. You directly kicked me out, and now you ask to talk about it. Well, let me tell you that you can go to hell with all of you and your words. When he said that, a purple aura began to surround him, making the environment more hostile. Michael. Please, Issei, my sister needs you just like the others. They are very bad because of what happened, and they need your help to be able to improve. Please help them, that's all I ask of you. If you want my position or money, whatever. I'll give it, but go with them. Ryder and Kateria began to get angry. How could they ask him that after what they did to him? They were about to intervene when the whole place began to shake. Everyone saw that Issei had his head down, while his aura began to come out chaotically. Suddenly Issei raises his face, revealing different eyes, leaving a feeling of fear and terror. It was as if only with that look he could kill them if he wanted to. Everyone was scared when they saw those eyes and his look, even Ryder and Kateria. They knew that he would not do anything to them, but that does not take away the impression of the display he is making. Issei. After what they dared to do to me, now they come and ask me to go with them. They think that if I want, there is a small chance for that to happen. I won't help them. They must pay for what they did to me. This happened because of them. Decision, so they must suffer the consequences of it. If it were up to me, I would leave them even worse than they are now. If only I hear the same idiotic again of returning to them, I swear I will go and kill each one of you now. I will disrupt them with my hands. If they only dare to come for me. They listened. Michael. But they are sorry for what they did to you because you don't give them the opportunity to show you their love and see that they won't leave you again. Issei couldn't take it anymore and he shot out, grabbing Michael by the neck and slamming him into the wall. When the other leaders saw this, they stood up, but purple chains came out of Issei's shadow and immobilized them. Issei. Listen to me well, ungrateful dove, if you want, your sister dare to make you come to my swear that her dismembered head and wings will reach you to the sky, you hear well. Michael could barely breathe, so he nodded frantically. Issei, seeing that he understood, threw it at the others, releasing them as well. Issei. That goes for all of you, so I suggest you keep them away from me if you don't want them to die by my hands, understand? He said, receiving everyone's nods. Seeing that they understood, Issei calmed down, addressing his girls who were serious about what happened, proceeding to leave the place before Issei killed everyone there. Issei and the others were walking to the exit while both women were calming him down so that nothing would happen when they suddenly felt that someone was above them. Issei didn't need to see who she was to know, just the thought of her coming made his blood boil with rage. Issei. What do you want, bitchy lizard? Leo. Oh, my partner finally opens up to me like that. Maybe you're not happy to see me, darling. Issei. You better leave or you'll know how I feel. Now, bitch. Leo. Don't worry, Issei-kun, I'm just coming so that we can both be one again. She said with a perverted look. The girls, in addition to being angry about that, were also worried about how Issei's power was beginning to become very unstable due to his emotions. Leo. In fact, we can even be more united if you want, she said, licking his lips. That was the last straw. Issei was about to kill her, but before he could do anything, Kateria and Ryder hugged him so he wouldn't do anything. Kateria. Issei, please calm down, it's not worth it, let's just leave her here. Ryder. Please let's go home, Issei, we already finished what we came to do. Issei saw them and sighed calmly. He knew that they were right, so without further ado, they just started walking to the exit without giving importance to the dragon, but she didn't take very well that Issei listened to those women, so she threw a fireball like that. Them to eliminate them and be able to be with Issei. Issei turns around and destroys the attack, saving them. Suddenly the whole place is silent. Ryder and Kateria were worried. Issei would no longer stop because she attacked them, they knew he would not let her go unpunished. Issei. Listen here, whore, you dare to deceive me first, then you take everything from me, and now you attack my couples. This time I will not be pity, you will know what happens if you or the others dare to bother me and my women. Suddenly the whole place explodes due to the release of energy from Issei, which alert the leaders and the other couples of Issei, even the factions. When feeling this inclement of power, open magic circles to see what was happening, but also did the mythologies that were not in the Bible treatise. Victor feeling the power also had to see what was happening through drones. The entire legion went to see what was happening. The 4 generals were surprised to see Issei in anger releasing that power. Leo. Don't worry, partner, I'll make sure to eliminate them so you'll know that only we can be with you fufufu. But she couldn't continue speaking since Issei in an instant shot towards her, giving her a blow that sent her towards the academy. Issei was totally lost, he didn't think about anything else, only about killing her, so he launched his attack towards where Mio was, destroying the place. The leaders were already outside watching how the brunette was about to kill Mio, so Tannen went towards him to try to contain him, but Issei quickly appeared above him, hitting him with a hammer blow which made him crash on the ground. Tannen was to get up, but he didn't count on Issei falling on him, sinking him even more, but he didn't stop there, but continued hitting him even more. Everyone could see how he was massacring Tannen right there. Suddenly everyone sees how I emerge injured from the rubble. When Issei saw her, he quickly ran away, holding her face while he dragged her across the ground, throwing her into the sky. As she fell, Issei prepared an attack through his mouth, launching it at her, where everyone heard her screams of pain when she stopped launching my attack. She fell to the ground. Everyone believed that the fight was over, but Issei did not approach her, who was barely conscious while crying. Leo. Please Issei, stop it please, everything hurts me. Why are you doing this to me if we were the best companions? You know I love you because you keep hurting me. I just want you to be with us again. Issei was just looking at her when suddenly they saw that he crouched down to her. Everyone believed that he would help her, but they didn't count on the following. Issei stepped on Mio's head, sinking it into the floor. Mio screamed in pain, but he didn't care about that, so he began to charge an attack through his mouth, aiming at her head. He was going to kill her. Mio saw this with terror, but after he did so, Sikvara and the others appeared. Sikvara. Issei, please stop, you're not like that. She said, crying to see what the brunette was doing. She knew that they deserved it, but Issei was not a being who killed, but a kind and loving person. She didn't want it because of the exes. He became someone bad. The others were crying. It also hurt them to see that what Issei did. They knew that he hated them, and if necessary he would protect them, but they didn't want him to become a cold being because of that. Issei saw them while he was undoing his attack. He saw how each one of them was crying, so he approached them. Many thought he was going to attack them, but Issei just brought his hand to Sikvara's face and said something barely audible. Issei. I'm sorry. He didn't want to see them cry. Upon hearing this, they hugged him, making Issei release that state, but he was not conscious, but apparently having entered that mode left him tired. So without further ado they took him home. The supernatural was surprised to see how Issei had left the Red Empress and the Meteor Dragon King. They knew that they had caused it, but they did not expect that the brunette would not care about the life of one of his ex-harem. Yufufu, that boy seems interesting. Who would have thought that the one the factions discarded would become this strong and dangerous? Just seeing him in that state makes me want to fight him. Who would have thought the most powerful Aztec goddess would be interested in a mortal? Haha, yes my friend, but I find that boy very interesting and we can't stay in neutral times any longer. The creatures of the Legion started to get into my territory and I won't allow them to do what they want in my territory, but we can't do it alone, we need help, and factions are not an option. And what do you think we should do, Quetzalcoatl? Quetzalcoatl? Well, that boy proved to be a formidable adversary. We should try to make a treaty with him and his girls. What do you think, Tsunade? Tsunade. It could be a good idea. He showed that he can face any enemy that comes his way. Why not? She said, drinking sake. Also, since he is Western, I can get more sake. Quetzalcoatl. Haha, you want to drink. Tsunade. Look who says it, the crazy fight. Quetzalcoatl. True, but we must plan how to contact them without disturbing the factions. Tsunade. We should hope there is an opportunity to meet them. That's it guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.